Black water takes over. Oh, say, whoa, darker days are breaking over me. Whoa. My body refuses to go. I've been running 4 miles every day all year, and on the 6th month did a 25K.
Workout pause.
My body refuses to go. It's just muscle fatigue. But I didn't even get a mile into this. I think what I'm gonna have to do is switch the style up to 6120s and just hope that I get my ability to walk back. This channel is intended to do science, and right now I'm doing a scientific experiment on myself. I've already spent the first 6 months of this year proving that I can run 4 miles. Now here I am, I can't even run a mile after trying to do a 100K challenge and a change in life. I don't have it in me to push beyond the pain because I know my body, so I know that this pain is not just normal muscle fatigue. It's something more. But I gotta finish it. I gotta do a year. So right now, if I was like, yeah, man, let's go run.
Workout resumed.
I wouldn't be able to run. And then you'd be like, I thought you said you could run. I'd be like, well, I ran for the last 6 months. I don't understand why I can't run today. And you'll be looking at me sideways like, well, obviously you can't run, which is the reason why I started recording my runs, because that's what empirical data is. So the empirical data suggests that I am capable of running. But today, I'm not capable of running. Something's not exactly what I needed to be so that I can achieve this objective. So that's literally how science works. Like literally the way science works is like that. Everybody's gonna be like, well, you're not a scientist. You don't have a degree. You didn't go to school. You don't have peer reviews. None of that matters, because before we invented that stuff, scientists did science and established what the principles and the philosophy for science was before it existed. So had they needed a peer review, we would have no established science because the people that did the first peer reviews weren't even peers. They didn't have any history or documentation or, citations or none of that crap. Isaac Newton, when he was writing calculus to show the movement of the planets through the stars, he didn't have a teacher teach him that. He invented it. He took the established mathematics and modified them to do the thing he was trying to do in the context of what he was trying to do based on the times of what was being said to contradict or counter argue the point about philosophy of the celestial motion of the planets and their relation to the Earth. Because at his time, the Earth was eternal. The Earth was an ever-changing thing. And the universe was fixed and constant and eternal. The universe didn't change. It was fixed. It was not subject to the idea of entropy. Newton he challenged that. He said, I don't think that's true. I think that the same forces that govern this, where we are here, governs everything. And in my 2 cents, that is the foundation of the difference between existence and the multiverse. Everything that's within an existence is governed by the same fundamental laws and principles. Below that extent is the universe, which is where we are. The universe has its own constants in relation to existence. So the governing laws that govern the universe, there are higher laws that exceed the universe, where within the universe is able to exist, thus existence, while simultaneously not necessarily embodying all of the attributes of existence. So parallel realities or parallel universes are able to be in relation to each other because their apparent existence has the same fundamental ground state principles and properties. So that's how Michelson multiverse cosmology works. And it's in that spectrum that Newton was arguing about, like, this is how things are. This is the way things are. This is how the world works. And he was being challenged by people with beliefs. Like, I believe you're wrong. And he was like, okay, I will use the mathematical principles that you have used to show that you're right, to prove that what I'm saying has validity. And that's literally the foundation of what makes something scientific, what makes something observable, experimental, and repeatable. And the biggest problem is right now in this present, we have past, present, and future. In this present, I can't accurately say that I successfully ran 4 miles because I'm walking.
Lap 1. Lap pace 13 minutes, 18 seconds.
13-minute 1 mile.
1 mile.
13-minute 1 mile. So I can't honestly say that I successfully ran. The conflict is is that my body doesn't want to do it. The mind wants to do it. The body's like, nah, we're not doing that. And there's only two reasons why the body doesn't want to do it. One, the body is being lazy, which is usually 90% of the time the reason. And the other reason is because the body is at the point of physical damage, which in my current state is probably more accurate because I'm not resting properly. I need rest, and I'm not getting the rest I need sleeping in my car. So my body is probably actually hurt and injured because I'm not healing properly. I'm not recovering the way I should be. So I have two options as a scientist. I can ignore all of the signs and the symptoms and push through them and hope that I don't hurt myself, even though all of the science has already proven that that's exactly what's going to happen. Or I can accept my limitations, give myself the time I need to heal and grow, and accept the fact that I was not able to achieve the objective that I set for myself instead of engaging in mental masturbation and pretending like I'm something that I'm not, which is the foundation of the reason why I started my 2 cents. There's nothing wrong with not obtaining the things that you desire, because until you die, you are in a state of constantly doing. You're in a constant state of success until you die. Nothing that you've ever started is a failure until after your death, because you can postpone anything you want and go back to it later. There's nothing stopping you from that except for corporations, government officials, parents, and lovers. Those are the only things standing in your way of you doing the things that you desire. And for some reason, that has been lost on us, even though we have been told repeatedly that we have a free will. So if you have a free will, then you should have infinite potential. And if you have infinite potential, then you should never actually be a failure. That's not to say that you can't fail, because I literally just proved empirically that I failed. It just means that my quest to run 100K is not limited to the influence of what happened right now today. At the end of the year, I want to run 100K. If I can't even run 1 mile, there's no way that I can run 100K. So how do I use empirical data and empirical science to get myself from where I am to where I want to be based on who I am and not based on what other people say or what other people think? That's the foundation of my 2 cents. Creating a universal understanding that's compatible with each other so that we can achieve the goals we have at our own level, so that we can all function in society. Because I don't like the dysfunction. The dysfunction is a waste of my damn time. It's annoying. Like, imagine me trying to come out here and run, and I got people like, oh, don't do it, or the sky is not ready, and then you're gonna run in the sun and the sky is out. You know the sun is out today. How you gonna run if it's raining? Like, all that's a waste of energy. It's all counterproductive, you know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to do 6120s. I believe that if I switch up the muscles, there's different muscle groups in the body, and my rest muscles are extremely exhausted from being used repeatedly for the last 6 or 8 months. But my running muscles are not strong enough and don't have enough endurance to get me through until for the 3 miles. So I'm gonna sprint and then jog. But because I know my resting muscles are resting running muscles are damaged, I'm gonna sprint and walk. So that way I can get through. You have different muscles that you use for different engagements when running, because that's how we are evolved. Humans have muscles for walking, muscles for jogging, and muscles for sprinting. The gluteus maximus, your butt, is actually evolved for long-range sprints. Humans, we are literally psychopaths. Humans evolved. Okay, we've all seen lions hunt gazelles, and we've all seen cheetahs hunt gazelles. And I'm gonna assume that cheetahs can eat a gazelle. I don't know. But we've all seen lions eat an animal. We've all seen lions hunt something. We've all seen cheetahs hunt something, right? Okay. Humans, lions sneak up on their prey and are able to get close enough to engage in a fast sprint and kill that prey, right? They get close enough that when they sprint at it, they're able to actually catch it and kill it. Cheetahs are not as powerful as lions. So they have evolved to get close enough to their prey, and the distance to close for them is a lot higher. They don't have to get as close, but they're able to outsprint their prey and kill them while they're tired. Cheetah's hunting style requires a significant loss in stamina for their prey to be successful. So, last thing is humans. And this is where we're psychopaths. We are not stealthy enough, nor are we fast enough, nor are we strong enough to utilize any of those abilities when it comes to hunting animals and eating meat. What we have learned to do is we have learned to have absolute focus on one specific animal and run that animal to exhaustion and muscle fatigue. No matter how big the animal is, no matter how strong the animal is, no matter what opposition we have with that animal, we will chase a gazelle for 10 or 12 hours straight until it can no longer move. That is how we used to hunt in the past. We will run animals into exhaustion. We will form hunting parties, and I would chase this animal for however many miles, and then as soon as it thinks it's safe, my buddy and my wife or whoever will jump out and chase the animal for a couple more miles. We don't have to fight them, we just got to chase them. They'll chase them for another couple hundred miles, 4 or 5 miles, and then your son will chase them for a couple miles, and then your youngest daughter will chase them for a couple miles, and then your neighbor next door will chase them for a couple hundred miles. And then once the animal reaches the point where it can no longer move, just walk up to him and kill him, cut him up, and divvy up the kill with everybody that participated. And it's that level of focus that allows us to be able to say, this animal was the one I'm gonna eat. That ability to say, that's the target, and communicate that to everybody else is what makes Homo sapien Homo sapien. So it's definitely possible for me to achieve this objective. It's just a matter of, can I use my brain in modern times to tap into that, whatever that is that existed in the past, in a meaningful way in the present. And I'm documenting it so that we can see exactly what's going to happen. How is this going to work long term? And it's really awesome that the first 6, I didn't plan any of this stuff out. I actually did have a plan, but life and misunderstandings between my wife kind of screwed my plan up. And I know she gets annoyed, and I know everybody else gets annoyed at me always talking about her. But the truth is that we don't want to talk about the reality of reality, but we want to focus on stereotypes and lies and deception and deceit and confusion so that we can feel like we understand how things work, what things are, what we should and shouldn't be doing in the world. And it's super counterproductive. It's super counterproductive in the grand scheme of things. It is really hot in Florida. But my goal was to be in Nigeria right now. And I would be doing a 4K run in another country, living with her, enjoying life, being a husband, really able to focus on my physical, focus on my body, and sharpen my mind in the process. But she chose to be an adversary instead of an ally, which is her choice. So now instead, I'm in college. I can't afford to give her the thousands of dollars that she demands of me every month. I can't afford to work the 3 jobs that she demands that I work so that I can validate myself to her. I can't afford to give her the time that she wants instead of resting so that I can go to work. Because, it's selfish of me to try to sleep for 8 hours after working for 16 hours straight. It's selfish of me to try to spend time doing the things that I need to do for myself to recover myself than it is to acknowledge her wants and her needs, even though all she's gonna do is complain about the same stuff she always complains about.
Halfway point
Even though
reached.
all she's gonna do is say, you need to work more. I need to work more than 16 hours. Yes, you need to work more. You need to make more money. I need to make more money working a job that's only paying me X amount of money an hour. Yes. Can I quit this job and get a better job? No. You need to make more money at this job. And exactly how do I do that? It doesn't matter how you do it. Just do what I say. So when you're living in that dynamic, and I may or may not fix my relationship with my wife, it's really her choice. Like at the end of the day, she's choosing to not acknowledge or accept my kindness. And one thing about people is, no matter who you are, everybody has a limit. If you're an honest, kind, if you're a moral, ethical, and legal person, and you're being disrespected, mistreated, underappreciated, having to deal with argumentative entities, having people lie and exaggerate who you are and what you are and what you're doing, the innate need for us to validate ourselves as a member of community cannot be exploited without confrontation. And what I mean by that is if I'm a good neighbor and my neighbor keeps trying to convince me that I'm not a good neighbor, I'm going to go out of my way to try to validate to my neighbor that I am a good neighbor. And then at some point when my neighbor decides that he doesn't want to recognize or accept that I am trying my hardest to be a good neighbor and that I am doing what I can to show him or her that I'm a decent person, what happens is that my respect for that person disappears. If I'm trying to show you respect and you're rejecting my respect, and then I go out of my way to humble myself to actually further evaluate or further validate the respect that I'm giving to you, only for you to reject it, then I stop having any need, want, or desire for your respect, because you've proven that you don't know how to be respectful. And the humility that we have simply means I will move away from you. I don't have to pass judgment or feel a certain kind of way. I just have to move away from you. And then when you move away from someone, then they want to bring you back into the fold because they don't want you to disrespect them. But you've been being disrespected by them through a lack of validation and acknowledgement for long enough. And within that energy, you have the right to not keep putting up with that kind of crap. And you're still, and this is the most important thing, you're still a good person. You're still ethically sound, morally sound, and legally sound. Because what other people say about you doesn't change who you are objectively. In the same way that what you do objectively cannot be altered by what you say subjectively. What occurs in relationships between people is that the need to validate oneself to someone else can be used against that person by someone else who doesn't care. And ultimately what this person that's going to take advantage of this other person does is they extract as much as they can from the kindness of the other person while simultaneously engaging in what we define as narcissism, even though it's not narcissism. Narcissism doesn't actually exist. The person will extract as much as they can from the honest person. The person is being ethically sound, morally sound, and immoral and legally sound. The other party will try to extract as much out of them as they can, while simultaneously creating a condition that will make them out to be corrupt. And the reason for this is to justify why the other person that never showed respect or never acknowledged being respected can maintain their social status. Because it's important to be able to not be called out for your usury personality or your parasitic nature, so that you can continue to function in the world. If you're not going to ever respect anybody because you know that unconditional respect is going to give you resources that you normally wouldn't get once people get comfortable and familiar with you, then you're not going to ever want to be acknowledge that person, because then you lose, right? If every time somebody meets you, they give you $10, and then you notice a pattern that when people meet me, they give me $10, but when people know me, they don't give me any money. It's only from a place of intelligence that you recognize that the more people I meet, the more $10 I can get. And less people so if I spend more time with new people, then I can earn more money that way than if I build relationships with people, right? Because we're social creatures. So the reasoning is sound, but it's a temporary condition. It's a temporary thing that I can make all this quick money, or I can have this quick validation or this quick exchange based on this principle of reality, without recognizing the value of having legitimately decent, honest, kind people and friends around you. And that is where the failure lies. That is where the conflict lies. And when it comes to my wife, her lack of a desire to be a decent person, wanting to be ethical, moral, and illegal, and want to actively engage and trying to convince me that it's better for me to be immoral, illegal, and unethical by engaging in juvenile positive and negative reinforcements. When I do something she doesn't like, she gets mad at me. When I do something she likes, she tries to reinforce it with, I love you, you're awesome, you're a great person. See, the thing is that with that level of manipulation tactic, anybody, whether you define them as narcissistic or not, anybody that engages in manipulation tactics with you, there's one fundamental understanding that you have to recognize to be able to know whether you want to spend the rest of your life with this person or not. And that is the simple fact of this. The capacity by which they are able to understand you enough to manipulate you means that they are going out of their way to disrespect you by not acknowledging who you are. If they have the perspective to see your behavior and choose to change your behavior, then they know the type of person you are trying to be. And if you're not doing anything illegal, immoral, or unethical, and you don't have somebody trying to stop you from being illegal, immoral, or unethical, that means that the only other condition is that this person is trying to stop you from being a legal, moral, and ethical person. And in that extreme, you have every right to fight against that, even if it means the destruction of who you are as a person in your temporary society. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares. No one cares. No one's interested in who you are, what you're doing, what your goals are in life, where you're trying to go with yourself. The only thing people are interested in is what about you makes them better. What about you improves them. And when you recognize that you're in a relationship with somebody who chooses to make you a failure so that they don't have to acknowledge that they're a failure, that person doesn't have what it takes.
Lap 2. Lap pace 27 minutes 35 seconds. Total 32 minutes 29 seconds. 2 miles.
It's validated to not have to deal with that person, which is the conflict I'm having with my wife. My wife wants me to be a stereotypical African-American man, and I don't have time for it. I don't have time to be told that I'm not good enough. I am always capable of failure, but like I said earlier, you don't truly fail in life until you die. So that's enough of that. I need to finish this 2 mile and reflect on what I'm going to do about getting my strength back. Let's finish this run for empirical data. twisting and air. It makes me smile. Oh, that I. Always will be always. You're never gonna shut me up, but it ain't no time. Oh.